Okay, when?
Will you turn on?
Batteries.
Yes.
All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get the commissioners meeting started for May 20th. We have a forum, so we will do business today. We'll begin the meeting with a pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have your other stuff, but I don't have that in my stack.
All right, we have minutes from the previous meeting. Anybody have any changes or recommendations for that? I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye, motion carries. Claims from the last period, any changes or modifications there?
No.
I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Same with payroll, any changes there?
No changes.
I'll move that we approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have the clerk's report and the treasurer's report, we'll read those in a little while. The highway report?
Good morning.
Good morning, Steve Berg with the Highway. White Stallion reclamation update, nothing to report at this time. Last I heard, we were supposed to be, I think Michael was gonna be getting in touch with the landowners when everything got taken care of, ready to go, so. I am gonna touch base with him this week and see once where we stand, because it's June for too long, and
Sure.
and we want this to keep going, so. Next item, been tied up and unable to speak with anyone about the ditch along 500 North, so this will happen this week. I'll be talking with just a meeting about that and proceed, so we'll get that taken care of. Do have a weed violation complaint. We received a tall weed complaint located on Hill Park Drive in DuBois. Doing up there later this week. They had also sent some pictures as well, and a lot of the yard appears as though it's unfinished, but there is tall vegetation there, so.
This is the one that goes up the hill towards the softball, baseball field?
To the south of that.
Okay. The complaint is, what is it? Weeds?
Tall weeds, yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And so you're just showing us that because you're gonna investigate that, or?
Yeah, we just got it in like last week, so we go up there and take a look at it. So just so you're aware, we did get a complaint, we'll be pushing on through with it, so. Finish looking at that. We'll give him some time to rectify the problem. And if it gets to the point we have to continue to push, then we'll be getting our muscle.
The muzzle.
We'll have that strongly worded
I
letter.
mean, it doesn't look like a large area, it looks like something we use, right?
It's, yeah,
It looks like he recently built the building,
I think so, and it's just,
just hasn't finished.
yeah, I think there's, I'm sure he's got dirt work to do around there to get everything dressed up. I'm sure there's been some erosion down that hill where it's probably hard for him to get a mower down there, but I think it's time to start doing something because I think he's missed out on some pretty good grass growing time here. So it's gonna be getting hot and dry and it's gonna be tougher to get done, so. Next item, we finished up all the shoulder stone application on the distressed road funds that we paid several weeks back. Work is finished and we did go out and address some areas that were impacted by last week's storm along the Schnellville Road. We had quite a few areas where it came across the road and took all of that out. So we got in there Friday after the other roads were done. We've got a lot of those areas taken care of so we can, keep that shoulder there and keep everybody safe. So that's all been addressed. And the last item, we're still on track to begin our chip seal season on Tuesday following the Memorial Day weekend. So we usually start with 90S to do the overlays on the asphalt that's being ordered, and they know roughly how many gallons, so it all has to be prepared differently. So that's all done, and not short report today.
Anybody have anything for Mr. Bird?
No.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, two things on the list for today. Distress road paving projects. So they were completed on May 3rd. Kevin was substantially received the final bill and went through and checked all the numbers. The project came in at $11,693.44 under bid. So, which is a good thing. The numbers made sense, everything worked out good. I think the project itself turned out good, it rides well. We have created a change order reflecting the new price. The contractor signed off on it, and I signed off on it, so I will need, if you guys approve, we'll need your signatures, and then Steve will need to sign it as well.
I move that we approve the change order reflecting the new price.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
So there are two copies. And then Sadie, you'll need to attest. And then the next thing is the aluminum box culvert. We tabled that from the previous meeting. Didn't know if you guys have made a decision whether you want to move forward with it or if you want to scrap that project and we can move on. So, get your guys' input.
Let's get this signed first, and we can make that discussion.
Okay.
So I did go out there and drive that. It's it. So if I come off the road, they're right by the bridge, and I'm looking down the creek. Is it the right side where they have all the block concrete chunks, or is it the left side washing out?
Well, if you look at the creek, it says the water drops, then it swirls. And that's why it's so much deeper just on that bottom side. They have put the block in there to help protect their field from erosion.
Okay. I was thinking swirl this way.
Yeah.
This way.
It's tumbling.
Okay.
it falls and it starts tumbling this way, and that's why it keeps eating out.
So which part are we talking about? You talking about, you came over. So that's my vehicle. This is right off of Old Hop Road, right? And then you're talking about over here,
So what he's saying is it's coming down here. It's
right? It
sort of-
runs over.
Yeah, this way. Because at first I thought it was, kind of whirlpooling.
Uh-huh.
What it's saying is it's kind of tumbling.
Yeah.
And creating this lower side down here.
So Cerise, here's what it kind of looks like when you pull in. There's what's the big pile of dirt
We're
up
gonna use that for backfill.
That's ours.
Yeah.
So you pull off of this road, this is a nice paved road here, where the dirt road starts here. There's a big pile of miscellaneous
Asphalt.
Yeah,
asphalt
that's-
concrete.
Backfill. Okay.
So it's a dirt road, then this thing kind of goes down, there's a little pipe there too, I guess that was ours.
That's not ours, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
This is what you do when you're, so the dirt pile, concrete pile, and there's a pipe.
Oh,
that
right.
creates
Right,
that
it's
gap.
taken out, just don't do this.
Right now,
So there's the bridge, or the, I guess, bridge on the,
yeah, that's how we use
so there's drainage in here, so this is the creek, this is where it fell down. Looks like that it was at one level, it cracked, and it dropped. So, come through here, the water runs over it, so ideally, is it designed for everything to run under it? Was it
Well,
originally?
originally there was, so everyday water that's gonna move the creek over time was supposed to go through those 18s. Well, you get one piece of riprap, it stuffs itself full, and then now this doesn't flow. It
Yeah, I don't think
may
there's-
flow
I don't think
some, but it's
It
not.
looks like there is here, but I don't know. if there's
It's not
water
clear.
coming out of that.
And then they're all concrete, so the joints have slipped.
So your plan was to tear this out, put a small, like something like 2
Aluminum
foot?
box culvert. It
Like
was
how
gonna
big?
be, 7 foot tall, 18 feet wide. It's big, it's big.
17-foot tall?
No, 17 foot wide, 8 foot tall.
That's still pretty dang big. right?
Yeah,
So
that's
you're gonna
good.
dig it all out and,
So when you go over top of that concrete.
No, we did all that.
You
You
dig it all
get it down to fresh dirt and lay it down. It would not be much lower than the upstream side.
so you go down 8?
No, because you gotta drive over the top of it. You wouldn't drive through your ditch anymore, you would drive over the top of it, one level.
That would be more like a bridge and less
Yes.
like a.
That's where your extra water's going, it's going over the top of that.
So you can't get that down for 75,000. That's just for the,
That's just for
that
box.
one box. So this is gonna be,
That's why the dirt didn't cost us anything, it's the guy's labor.
so you're gonna pile that dirt up and your people are not gonna drive over that dirt, over this, and you're gonna just
Like a bridge, correct.
I mean, it'll be a hump.
No, because it drops so far, you've got 6 foot of drop from where you're at right now. So by the time you pull all that concrete out, that's where your extra foot comes in, and then you'll drive over top of it.
So what's gonna be over top of it, just
Just rock or dirt.
Did you drive down that road
Just
at all?
I did, I drove the whole thing.
the field dirt that you have
So
piled
further
up,
down
you'll
the
just
road
put
is
all
where it
that, that there won't be a concrete pad on top of it, right?
Why do we have this crossing here and the bridge later?
So the only part that seemed to concern me was this part here where there's a crack down the middle and it's losing stability, I would assume, under this part of it. Over here, I didn't, you just drive it, it's like going into the road, this part was losing it. And that's the condition of the road when you make that first turn.
Yeah.
This is the
There's
first
the
bridge that you come to, or after, so the damaged area is up here, you come here to a 90, and then you go over this bridge. And there's another one of these.
It's in a lot better shape.
There's a culvert underneath there.
I
Yes,
think so, I think so.
It runs
That's what it
under,
looks like on the other side.
it runs under.
That looks like a piece of modern art. That's a bunch of concrete.
Special clean out
No,
concrete.
oh, I thought that.
So is this our work?
Probably, it was done pretty neat, so I don't know.
It seems like a,
It does run under it, I assume it runs over it when it gets full.
that's it.
Is there any way to move the road to the other side of the bridge? Instead of coming off the bridge and then down through it, actually starting the road on the other side of the bridge so we don't have to go through that creek?
You might cross a property line.
I say we're crossing property lines there.
Right, but I guess my thought on that was if it costs us $75,000 to put a box culvert in, I mean, can we buy that little corner there from the property owner if they're willing to sell it? In order to just, because there's a bridge there, and now we're gonna put one right next to it for a dirt road.
We can talk to them.
So Commissioner, do you think think you're willing to spend 75,000 for that?
Piece of property?
No, for that, culvert, or for the box
Yeah,
box
box.
culvert, and then we'd have the labor on top of that, right? Whatever that is.
Oh.
$100,000 for this.
I'd rather find a different solution.
So I mean, really, I think there probably may be other solutions, but that's probably not what we're here to do today. We'd probably just say, are we gonna have him move forward with the $75,000 purchase or not?
Okay.
Do you agree? Or, I mean, I'm happy to keep talking about it, but maybe you,
I just want a direction. That's
if we
fine.
get,
Yeah.
if we get this,
As of right now, I'm probably no. I think if we can buy that other, little corner of that property and bring the road off before the bridge instead of after, to where we don't have to drive through that creek anymore, we solve the problem.
yeah, I hadn't thought of that idea, so I'd like to.
So what is back that road?
Just
Farmland?
Several farmland, or.
There's not a homestead back there.
Well, and you could come in the other side.
Six
First, you could come in the other side, right, access.
Can.
Yeah.
But all of the same property can be
Opposite
accessed.
direction?
Yeah.
You coming in from the west.
You're just
side
driving through
or
water,
east?
you're driving through a crossing, whichever way you go, trying to eliminate one of them. So,
Oh, you mean like that concrete?
Yeah.
Part. So that was the other thing that made me probably against spending this kind of money, because so come in the other side and get access to all the same parcels. So I think, I'd be a no, Mr. Hostetter.
it's fine, we'll scrap it.
So that's two, so we'll scrap that for now, we'll maybe come up with a different idea between now and next time.
We will do. So that's all I got.
All right, anything else for, Mr. Wendell? No, okay, we'll move forward. So, on this map.
Well, I thought of this after I drove the road, so I didn't go back and double check it.
So it's not even listed on here, but this is the
See,
road.
across
You're
here.
saying go here.
Yeah, I'm saying just go here, because it follows that, doesn't cross that creek again until later.
Yeah, thank you.
So that's on the road, so that-
So, yeah.
Well, that's the
So
road
That's
then.
the road right there. But see,
Yeah,
there's
you
a
know,
creek,
everything goes-
if you just come in on the other side of the bridge, you eliminate that crossing.
Sounds like a smarter idea than I did. I like that. That's why we have you up here,
I guess.
right? All right. Mr. Schneider, would there be a problem for us opening these radon inspector proposals a few minutes early, or should we wait till 9 o'clock?
Well, they were due already, so.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that then.
We received 2 proposals. Received one from Vet Environmental Engineering,
VET,
VET,
DET.
V as in Victor.
Victor, okay, so that's right.
And then our second one we received was from First Choice Home Inspection LLC out of Otwell. That is out of Bloomington, Indiana. What I believe we will do is we will pass these on and have them reviewed and see if they all make sense and meet our specs that we had in the RFPs. And then, do you think you'd have something to that area?
Yeah, there's something else.
Do you wanna, I mean, should we read the amounts of the pricing? Just for the public knowledge, in case somebody wanted to hear it, that way we're being transparent, then we can look at them and see if they fit the spec.
As we have 2, we'll probably need to set up a scoring and I'll reach out to that.
So from First Choice Home Inspections, there's a radon test pricing of $175, which includes placing and retrieval of radon testing machine at specified address and includes a detailed radon inspection report. A mitigation plan quote will be provided for $50 if testing deems it necessary. A post-mitigation test fee will be $175 if necessary, and a per hour charge for additional work is $75 per hour.
Was the pre and post $50 involved?
No, post-test fee is $175. The test itself is $175.
Okay.
Mitigation plan,
If they need mitigation.
if they need to get it fixed, it's $50. And then the post-test fee is $175.
Thank you.
Yes. Costs from vet, they are doing it here's lump sum pricing. So I will read it as it is written. I'm not doing the math yet, but radon testing at 40 single-family homes following time-sensitive protocol. That is 84 tests at 36% bulk discount off 200, and so the individual test cost was 200. But their cost lump sum at completion would be $10,674.95. Reporting initial inspection and testing results, lump sum is $735.30. Post-mitigation inspection and testing and reporting as lump sum, $710.96.
So they're charging a set rate, not knowing that if everyone fails or none fail. That's what it appears.
Correct.
And Jenny went on the bid, we didn't ask for a price that way, did we?
However they want to submit pricing.
So you'll look at them and see if they fit what we asked for, and
Yes,
if you'll let us know which ones are a valid bid.
yes.
So how do I mean, do I write lump sum stuff, or what do I write?
For the record, I would do that, I would
I would
tell
do
you,
it,
they
that's
provided
the
a
way
bid
it's
of
presented is.
10,000, whatever that amount was.
And that is all the quotes or proposals.
Thank you. Jenny, you have something else?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Jenny Mott, ICD of the 15 Regional Planning Commission. Today I have a contract for you for grant administration services. This has been reviewed by Greg. I believe I presented to you. It does have your most updated language about, remind me what it is that I need to stick in at the end.
It was like E-Verify.
Yeah, all the
suspension,
E-Verify, the
debarment.
suspension, debarment, all those clauses, those have all been updated per Greg's request. And it is broken down, to, Okra's specifications for OOR and the Head Start program management.
You,
Okay.
yeah, you want us, I mean, you need the signature, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yours and Sandy's, and then, when I come back, it'll be signed by our board tomorrow night at their meeting, and so.
Would either of you like to review that?
I'll take the original, but I'll take this one too.
Do we want to address that issue for Friday? Just move it forward
Today.
at some point.
You want to have that one down, if you want to look at it?
At some point. About having hard copies.
Oh, and how they want to do it.
Yeah, because we want to adjust our board.
Put it in there, correct.
And we're fine with whatever you wanna do, but we need to know whether you want to copy or not. So. If you're opening it. Opening it at that. That was our discussion Friday and this morning, so. Okay. So did. I started reviewing outside of our area, and there was anybody that took. So they would put in the living of hard copy as a hand.
Any concerns? All right, I'll move that we approve the contract for services between DuBois County and Indiana 15 Regional Planning Commission. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Motion carries.
Yes, good.
Anything else?
Yes.
Yes. I'm gonna let you go through this.
So on the request for proposals, the request itself did not specify the delivery of the proposals to us, whether they were to be physically mailed, hard copy, electronically delivered. We received one of the proposals was they had contacted the auditor's office, and because it did not specify, we didn't allow them to come in electronically. Going forward, that's why that was sent in the way that it was, but going forward, we're going to adjust our RFPs to require them to get a physical copy dropped off, just like we do for our bids and other projects. Just wanted to let you know that that did occur on this one. We did contact them and allow that to occur because it was not specific, and we'll make adjustments going forward.
We're gonna adjust our wording.
If it is missing something, when I printed it, it would stop and went different pages,
That's fine.
stop and went, and so hopefully. it's-
I'll reach out to your office.
not-
That's fine, yeah,
I do have, and I can send you the electronic.
that's fine.
But
But we
Put
just
it
want,
forward or just put it-
if it's missing something, it's because
it didn't print, but that's fine. But we did wanna, just going forward, we will adjust it on anything that we have with the county to include wording that it must be a hard copy received in office and not electronic. So, I think it's just because if you open the email, our thought was if you're opening the email, you're opening that proposal or that bid or whatever early, so.
Right. No, I think that you, in the,
Based on the circumstances of the
based on
time,
our, you did it correctly.
and we're gonna make steps to help make it easier for us in the future, to not have to make that decision.
I've looked throughout our region and other regions since Friday, since Greg had reached out, and there's nobody that we can find that kind of accepts them electronically, even though we are in a more digital age. We're still wanting those hard copies. Awesome, thank you so much.
I guess the only thing I would say is the lump sum.
Yeah.
We should just be careful that you would think with the local provider, if they're comparable, that they would be more, they have more ability to be responsive, where I would think that possibly the Bloomington folks would say, we'll come down and do radon tests this week
Yeah.
or this certain time, so that may be a consideration we should have when we look at them. But we'll start primarily with the cost, qualifications and cost, and we can worry about
We
the rest.
will get that out to you this afternoon, some more information on the breakdown of those, and then how to move forward, so.
Is this something that we should make a decision on today in the next 2 hours?
No.
Where we should, you know?
No, it had listed in there that within 2 weeks, we would make
Okay.
decisions on.
Sounds good.
And just an update, home inspections have begun. He's gotten through 8 in this last week or so. Kind of scheduling those, he does about 2 a day. They are very in-depth reports. They are fantastic, lots of pictures, lots of good information that we can use. And every inspection does come with the bid specs so that when we get ready to bid these out, everything's ready to go.
That's fabulous.
Homeowners are really excited with the transfer of property occurring Wednesday with the city on the site for the wellness center. We'll have the rest of the match kind of secured with that, even though we have quite a bit of money invested on the county's end. They do want to see some of that buy-in from the city, so that will be official on Wednesday. Kirsten's going to send that information over, and we'll be ready to submit the Head Start side, and they can get moving.
And just for the public notice, we wanted to know there's probably going to be 40 homes that we think will be able to help for this
Yes.
owner-occupied rehabilitation that the county partnered with the city with Region 15. And these are homes all across the county, some in Jasper, Birdseye.
It's everywhere throughout the county. We've got some within incorporated communities and some out in the county. So homeowners are very excited, especially with this lovely hot weather. They're excited to get moving on some AC units on some of these homes.
And some of these early ones, have they been heating, ventilation, air conditioning, those kinds of
Everything.
things? Roofs.
Roofs with the rain, I think people are very excited to not have leaky roofs anymore. So it's been a good thing.
So this is an exciting thing.
It is very
That's good.
exciting. We have lots of very, very happy homeowners. So awesome. Thank you.
Thank
I will
you.
be back in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Was there a vote on the contract? Or just-
It was in, yes, we voted in approval. Okay, we have 10 minutes until 4-H repairs on the agenda, so we'll go over some miscellaneous things. Did the board, did you members receive something from the Patoka Lake Steering Committee on a tour that's coming up on May 30th? Get one of
I
those?
don't believe I can do that Friday, I think.
I wanted to, but yeah, not in town. I think that'd be something I'd like to learn about.
Oh, I would love to go, but it's chosen Saturday, and all that,
Which stuff, Margo, did you need this
I
or you
did,
got one?
yeah, I
Okay.
did get one, thank you.
Give an update on the conference room and the streaming that we're looking into. I did have, I think it was, one of the companies reached out again and said, hey, did you get our bid? And I said, I did, that we were, surprised at the expense because I'm gonna look here so I'm translating right. If it cost in 2020, Commissioner House, I don't remember when they came in, it was like $15,700 for streaming, a couple cameras and some microphones, and now it was $29,000. So I told them we were shocked and surprised at how much it cost originally, and now it's double. So just kind of want to share that with them. That they said they're going to sharpen their pencil, but I don't know how sharp they can get it. If it's going to be something we're going to be comfortable with. So, and then another guy from another one that I met here, I'm gonna do a Zoom meeting with him this week, so we'll see what they come back with. Otherwise, we'll just continue doing what we're doing with the cost we're doing. Something that, I heard about this week was I'll read it, but I don't get anything incorrect here. The Office of the Attorney General sent me an email this week. It said they will distribute our share of the public settlement announced earlier this year, a one-time payment. This has to do with the opioid lawsuits that have happened. And so this one in particular is that we will be receiving payments from 2 distributors, one known as Amerisource Bergen, now known as Cencora, and another one from Cardinal Health. The payments from the drug distributors are prepayments for the settlement, payments that were scheduled to be made next year. I think part of the settlement said if these distributors of these opioids pay us this year instead of next year, they get a discount. And so it's in their benefit to get the payments out sooner, so I think that's what they're going to be doing. The payments will be transferred to our account via ACH by the comptroller's office. So Sandy, I think, did you get this email as well? You're aware of it?
I was gone last night, I looked at you, but I didn't get a chance to read it.
The amount of the payments under this distribution are $18,238.10 restricted and $7,000 unrestricted. So about $25,000 for this settlement. So it's just something that we can plan on using to help with those issues in DuBois County. Sandy, also, you sent us an email about a supplemental distribution of Flint taxes. Can you you mind giving us and maybe a little more detail on what that means? I looked at the form that you sent us. So is this like they did years ago where we get a certain amount, they estimate it, and then when they do the final numbers, they either adjust it up or down?
Well, I think it's got something to do with, they do you're going back, I think it's 22 numbers now, and if it's over 15%, they have to release those funds. They can't hold more of our money there, so.
So their estimates originally were too low. They've done.
Or
final
they've
numbers.
received more since then or something, I don't.
And so what did that money look like that was going to be extra money coming in from that? Do you remember? Because I saw a number on
I
there.
sent it, but I don't remember.
So the whole number that's on that report is the supplemental amount?
But then you distribute them out, like Dubois County gets a share and all the entities get a share. We get it seems like we get a supplemental every year.
This one just seemed larger than I remember. Maybe it isn't.
I think 87 counties got a supplemental, so.
So it says DuBois County certified share, $628,000.
That's what property tax would be.
And then economic development distribution, $471,000.
The other one.
The remaining amounts underneath total $1.5 million, which the remainder goes to the other units.
And then on the very bottom, you have your public safety,
Right.
all your RC.
So that is additional?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on those? Sometimes I saw those numbers, just didn't know exactly what it meant. I guess every year we get
I think
supplemental distribution. This one
August,
just seemed
May
larger.
2nd, they have to distribute, or they have to whatever's.
Okay, so who's going to present for the 4-H repairs and equipment next week? What's that? Is that anything, do you know anything about commission?
A little bit. They should have been here by now. They're probably downstairs if I had to guess. Because there were a few of them that weren't gathering to come to the meeting.
Here we go.
You're asking why they're getting a refund? Or getting a
Vendor.
Right, so
Questioning
I think
what
what some of this could be is if I stole something from that place, I go to court and I get a claim against me. This might be money that I came to the prosecutor or to the court
Oh,
to pay,
okay,
and
okay,
they may get that money back.
okay, okay.
I think that's one of the ways,
Restitution.
the restitution
Okay.
issue could potentially.
I just thought.
Because I know some of those
vendor,
are
I thought it was- Yeah. I just thought it was-
Is it a claim?
Are you guys both finished with these?
Yes.
These are for the outstanding checks from the clerk office.
No,
So she was wondering how a certain person would be on this list.
that's the court side.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna, just for the record, say that all commissioners have reviewed both the monthly report of the clerk and the monthly county treasurer's report. Or we got into the. Get another request from the city.
So it's the right for the fair again.
On there?
Well, I made a motion.
Courthouse user, something comes up.
Courthouse used to be on there.
Right, that's what I.
I did not, I had your friends on and gone.
Some of the 945.
It's right there, right in front of me. Thank you. All right, 4-H repairs and equipment. 4-H council members are here.
Yes.
Good morning.
How's everybody? My name is Ed Baglin. I'm the DuBois County 4-H president. And start off, I want to thank everybody for what they've done for us over the years. But there's always ongoing issues, as you all know, unfortunately. One of the first things we want to do is, as far as next year's budget, we've been getting $125,000 appropriation from y'all. And the council, used to be 145. And that was back before the county was strapped for money. And when we had our council meeting, we talked about that, and they said, well, can you put a line item in your budget for equipment? We said, we'd like to. We can't afford to. Part of that issue is we've got a $300,000 budget, and we get 125 from the county, and we have to raise all the rest, which makes it extremely tough. So what we'd like to be able to do is try and get back up to that 145,000 again, which would help tremendously. COVID seems to put a squeeze on everybody, as y'all know. Things went sky high, and unfortunately, most of us not come back. Our expenses keep going up. Some of your expenses keep going up as well. We just like to get back to where we were before to start with, in that respect. One of the other things is, with the county equipment for the fair, at this point, we don't think we're going to need any equipment, but we'd like to have that option open in case something comes up that we do. Steve and I just talked for just a quick second, and he had no problem with that. But we'd like to get that cleared again. We don't think we will, but we need to have that option there if something happens.
Mr. Bird, what kind of things have they needed historically?
I think before it was the front end loader and a grader.
Yes,
Sometimes our trailer.
yeah, but we're not moving tires in that respect anymore. We've made some changes. We don't have our demo derby anymore, as a lot of you already know. We had 31 good years, but it was time for a change as well. Things have to progress and move on, and that was one of those. It ran its course. It was a good course, but it was time to do something different. So in turn, we don't move any tires. We've got a few up there for the end, for tractor pull that we use as a safety barrier on the end, but we leave those up there all year long, and we can drag those around. We're not bringing them up from down over the hill and all this sort of stuff. So usually just in the past, we've had a grader and a front end loader of some sort, and that's usually about all we've had.
Does the board have any problem with the highway department working with 4-H for this process?
No problem whatsoever.
If it's a reasonable request, we'll try to help them.
And we've always tried to keep it that way. We've always worked well with Steve.
All right, so for the record, it just seems like we have a consensus that the board is okay with that.
Yes.
Thank you. The other thing, we always have an annual meeting with the park board. And one of the things that we have always done is we've paid their electric, their water, their sewer for the year. And then at the end of the year, we have a settlement out of it. In the process, things that went on this year, I have been getting the mail. And as it turns out, everything is separated out already. Their electric comes separate, their water comes separate, their sewer comes separate. Now, there are some things that we will keep. Obviously, we have to split equipment costs, those sort of things as far as repairs, expendables, toilet paper, these sort of things for back in the bathrooms. That would be hard to split between the two. So we can keep that the same. But in the process of talking with them, they had no problem with it. I mentioned to Sandy, I talked with her one day, she said she didn't really, at that point, she said basically there's no line item for her to be able to pay the park board's expenses. The thing is, out of our $300,000, part of that money is what we're paying parks expenses on throughout the year. And then we have to have a settlement. And the settlement is, we're still paying them on the settlement because of the wages. We have to settle up with them on wages. Now, the thing about that is, what we'd like to be able to do is separate out those costs of electric and the water and the sewer and all this sort of stuff, especially with them doing the splash pad. That's going to go up dramatically, which in turn, if we kept paying that, it would cost us more money. We have less money to use for repairs, equipment, things like this.
Overall, you probably won't have much net change, but for a cash flow situation, it would be better if they did it.
Yes.
So are you comfortable with the council adding a line item and having them just pay it beginning in 25, is that gonna be sufficient?
Starting to, yes, and what we'd like to do then as well, if it works out with everybody, is as far as the wages and things that we have to pay our part, we'd like to pay that quarterly, so it's not one lump sum. If we could do something like that as well. Is that something that we can, I know it's gonna take some enabling to make it work, but it's something that we could probably address and
They could probably do estimates.
Well,
and that's probably where it would happen. Now
like
that-
we do the first quarter and we maybe do it in April or something after the quarter's finished.
I think that would probably be best. And so we'd basically be working one quarter into the following year. Yeah, we'd be a quarter off as far as the calendar year went. If that would work for you all.
We can maybe work on something.
Okay. And we can stay in touch and see where everything goes out at then. But I know they're gonna have a whole lot more expenses because what I understand is on their splash park, it's all fresh water. It's not a holding tank and it recirculates. It all goes down, to the lift station and out through the sewer.
Well, I know that we split the dumpsters already,
Yes,
so it's just a matter of the getting this stuff in their budget, because they don't have a budget right now.
right. And when we had that joint meeting, they all, and Christine included, felt like that was a good thing to do at this point. Again, it's a situation of changing times, and like you say, it's a cash flow issue for us. We need to be able to work with our money a little better to make things come out. So
I don't think this board would have a problem with that.
it's just a matter of getting all logistics taken care of, is where it comes down to.
Now, you won't have as many offsetting expenses, so you're maybe a little higher,
Correct, yes,
but you're not gonna have those expenses, so.
right, but it should be there at that point. It's kind of a double-edged sword sometimes on that. So that's what we're kind of looking at. Has anybody got any questions for me on any of that?
Yep.
Okay.
Now, the only thing I'm gonna request is, on the last one, we got a settlement check, but we got nothing on your end, what did you spend? So I think you asked for that.
Okay,
Okay. I don't know. Okay.
okay, Uriah is our new treasurer, so that's where some of the,
Disconnect.
look for the proper term. She's got some catch-up work to do. She's wonderful. She's doing a good job. No, she stepped in and she's picked it up. She's caught on real quick. She's working with Jake Memmer from the bank as well, and he's helping guide her through this first year. So we feel very confident on what's going on at this point. So things should be in a lot better shape after this in that respect, as far as the numbers and where it all went and all this sort of stuff. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to my building and grounds colleagues on another matter. They have all the information on that.
While we're at it, does the board of commissioners have a feeling or a thought on any, ultimately be the council's decision on funding, but how does this board feel about the funding request? 125 was previous, they're requesting an addition of $20,000.
I don't have a problem with the request. I think the initial reason that we lowered that amount was when we built the grandstands, hoping that there was gonna be some kind of more income for the 4-H through use of those grandstands.
And there actually has been more, yes. And I don't know, and I know you guys weren't sitting on this commission at that point, but we also we were under budget by $175,000 on that project. And we turned that money back over to you guys. We didn't do anything silly or obnoxious with it, as much as we'd like to hit added bathrooms down there to upgrade those. We knew that we needed to bring that back and address that in public payment. So we did turn back in $175,000 on that project.
Do you guys have any events planned over there this year?
Not right now, other than the fair, and there's some horse shows as well.
Okay.
Matter of fact, there's a horse show coming up later this month or next month, and they have 3 or 4 of those out there every year as well. But the grounds in general are used a lot. We definitely are trying to look into getting some activities down in the grandstand. Definitely have been, and that's, how do you do it sometimes? That's part of the problem. So we are struggling. We're working with it though. We're trying to make the most of it. We've got a great group of council members. For each council members, they're on top of things. Put them on a mission and they get it accomplished. So I feel confident that they will on this as well, as far as trying to get some more usage out of that.
Commissioner Stefan?
Well, I totally support it. I mean, I'm out there with the meetings, I see, day to day what goes on. So I totally support helping.
You see our struggles.
Yes.
Yes. And I know, Chad, you've been out to look at some things as well. Nick, we'd like to get you out there sometime if at all possible to look at some things too.
Okay.
So you can physically see what we're up against sometimes. So, and now there was a new building went up this year. 4-H Shooting Sports funded that. We didn't put anything into it. They took everything on it. The only thing we are funding is some electrical on the outside of the building, so that if we want to put a trailer in next to it, food trailer, whatever, for different events, we're able to plug into it and have some outside service there. So that's some of the things that we've done. But we put back entrance in on the grandstand this last year, which was greatly needed. If you remember in the past, we had the one entrance coming in, and that meant all of our participants and all of our safety personnel, fire department, sheriff's department, whatever, all had to come in through that one gate. And if we're stacked up, checking in equipment, checking in cars, checking in tractors, whatever the case is, an emergency, they couldn't get out. And that was the reason for putting that in. And we did that at no cost to you guys, no cost to the county at all. We did that with donations. As far as people coming out and donating time, bringing equipment out to help us get the job done. So we've been squeezing things as hard as we can squeeze it out of it. We're trying to make the most of every dime we've got. So
My position on it would be probably, I'd be happy with giving them a 10% increase or something along that line, if the council would find that there's money for it. So I think we would all be in support of a little bit of that. And I appreciate the work that Jay did over the years trying to keep it flat or going the other direction. So thank you to him. Any more? Anything else?
My building grounds have some things on it.
So it's a consensus too.
The board as a consensus would support some level of increase.
Morning, commissioners. How's everyone?
Thank you.
Real quickly here, to jump on what Ed said about price increases, I had dug through our records, Brent, and I'm telling you, Steve. So I dug through the records for the 4-H. I got 2019 prior to COVID and 2023. So you can see the increases in what everyone is, the kind of the most common items and stuff that we have. And that's just for your reference. It's really got nothing to do with what we're going to present next, but that's just something we had done a little homework and done some digging. You can obviously see the price off-road diesel fuel went up 185% in 4 years. So that's kind of where things are at. Anyhow, Carson, the superintendent out there, and myself, we're coming before you this morning to present and request some funding for repairs or demolition and construction of a new swine barn. I don't know how many of you guys have been out there. I know Commissioner Blessinger and Council President Mr. Kleesner have been out there. The building is in need of repairs. We are losing the west side of the building. There's big cracks in the floor. The wall on the west side has it's not really started too much at this point to fall, but it's just a matter of time. The south side needs a lot of repairs where the big door is. A couple of the posts right by the doors, they are no longer attached to anything. They're just kind of standing there. We did get a couple of quotes. We had one contractor to build a temporary wall, because basically from the wood up is in decent shape. So one contractor presented a price to put in a temporary wall, do the west third of the concrete floor, take that out, and instead of having, if you guys have been out there, you remember, we've got those tongue and groove boards around the outside. They're gonna demo that, they're gonna pour a concrete knee wall and then set the post on top of that, and then do some other work. So that price was under $100,000. We did get a price from a contractor for complete demo and rebuild. That was $257,000. So we're coming to you guys to present a request. With our budget, you know, as far as council, we cannot afford this. So we're asking for a budget, you know, to get something in a budget for 2025 so we can move forward with it and get it repaired.
What was that price again?
The
Not for the replace, but the first one.
The repair was, it was under 100,000. Yeah, it was like $88,000. I mean, I can get you
No,
that.
that's fine. That's
Okay.
close enough.
Yeah.
You're asking the county to do the full funding for that?
Yes, please. Yeah. I don't know what else is, like I said, with our budget, we are strapped. You know, I know that's a sizable chunk and there's only so much money in the pot, but you know, with that building, we're kind of at the point of no return. You know, I mean, you guys have been out there and seen the floors and.
Is that the second structure in? Trying to think of which one that even is.
Uh,
I saw problems with all of
Yeah,
them. So trying to think of which one.
yeah, when you pull straight in, you're looking at the Clover Pavilion, which is where the flag is. It's the one to the left. When we walked out there, I think the agriculture equipment was parked in it. It's the one to the left. It's the furthest west before the horse barn's down over the hill.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the sheep and goat, the annex, cattle barn, then the swine barn. And that's the one that's got the steep hill there.
I got it.
Yeah, that's the one that is in need of
So
repairs.
is that building, from memory, is it taller than the other one? Are they all the same?
They're all about the same height, yeah.
About the same,
Yeah, so, like I said, we're looking for some help to redo that building. I was pleasantly surprised with the quote back to rehab the west third of it. I really thought it was gonna be a lot more than that. But it came in where it did, and so, like I said, that's kind of where we're at this point. I know budget hearings are coming up, and it's like everything else, it moves so fast, we're, you know, in May already, so it's coming around.
Do we need anybody want any more information from them, or just, you wanna send that bid or quote or whatever
Pardon?
it is, that might provide us with some more information.
I'm sorry, he was, what,
No, I was asking the board if they need
Oh.
anything else, and if you could send us that quote or anything you have on the project that might help us.
I've got copies of the quote now from the one. To be honest, I was a little leery. I work for the city, so I didn't know how purchasing in the county works. Sometimes when we go out for quotes, you know, if you just need a budget number, because if this is gonna be a competitive bid thing, or if you guys just fund this, I don't know how this works. So,
Area of guidance.
I would look at it right now is that it's gonna have to be a competitive bid thing. It's a public works, it's a building on a piece of property owned. The only reason I would debate otherwise is the fact that we have a lease agreement where the 4-H council is responsible for the maintenance, upkeep, and all structures. And I don't know if that would change the way that it would be bid or quoted, but if you're not spending the money and it's our money, then I think we'd have to go about our regular procurement process.
So we could do it in such a way to say, we understand you have building maintenance problems, the council would be okay with it, we could say, we will give an additional appropriation to you of X amount, and then they have to go by whatever rules they have to go by.
Possibly, yes.
Because, I guess, are you set up as a nonprofit?
Yes, we are, yeah.
And so that's, and I told you this when we all met out there, that's always the thing I go back to.
Yeah.
The land is leased for 100 years, you're responsible for everything. So when we did the grandstand or any concrete work, or the county comes out to do whatever, it's just from goodwill, not a requirement of the county. So it's, as I tell everybody that comes in, 50,000 to you means 50,000 doesn't go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it's just something we have to strongly consider, that swine barn is more important than road work or a sheriff's deputy or health department or something. So it's just something we have to consider. But your request is $88,000. I guess the board, we don't make the ultimate decision, but I guess we can give them feedback if they maybe take 2 weeks to think about it. We can give our opinions at the June 3rd meeting, and at least the council will know what we think.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a way to proceed?
And I can get you the number on, like I said, based on your recommendation.
Right, I think if you're looking at it from a budgeting standpoint, then the number you have is fine without us. It's not a real quote, I guess, at this point.
Yeah.
I think it may need to go to public bid still, so
Okay.
we'll just leave it at that.
So if the council said we're gonna give you $100,000 next year to do
Yes.
for building maintenance, you think we still may be, because we're somewhat aware of what they wanna do with it?
We're aware of what they want to do with it, and we own it. Plus, I think it'd be beneficial to do the competitive process anyways for the spending of that money.
Per that contract, are we the owner of the building? I thought we leased I thought we were the land
We own
owner.
the land.
They would probably own the
I'd have to look
improvements.
at the lease again.
Okay, well, we can look into that further, but.
And that's all we're
Understand
asking at this
your-
point, is
understand your
just, yeah, we're in like step 3 of 1,000 at this point, so.
All right. Garth, anything?
No, I just, have the same quote, but, yeah, Scott pretty much said everything, so.
All right, that's
All right.
all. Thank you for your
All right.
efforts.
Thank you guys, appreciate your time.
Real quick, guys, I'd just like to thank you again for the equipment out there. It's working out tremendously. The guys are being a lot more efficient and things are going very smooth with it. So thank you guys very much for that.
Better than driving around working with John.
Yes. Can't thank you
It's a
guys
lot
enough.
safer.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Might need a break or anything.
I'm good with the truck for
Drug it. Okay. Next up, we have 9:30. We have a Crossline Solar decommissioning agreement, and what else was it, Mr. Schneider? We had.
There was consideration for the permit,
Okay.
or maybe just a discussion of the permit at this point.
Yeah, we can start with
What the expectations are for it. I think the decommissioning plan agreement has been circulated around to you guys. It's been back and forth with us. Our requested changes have been made. I believe it's in its final form for consideration by the board today. By misspeaking.
No. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Darren Jacobs with LightSource VP, representing the Crossline Solar Project. Just as a little refresher, since the last time I was here, this majority of this project is under your jurisdiction. A portion of it is also under the city's ETJ, Huntingburg's ETJ. Right now, this is a 100 megawatt solar project with a 100 megawatt battery storage located roughly west of the Huntingburg Regional Airport and east of the town of Holland. And it's within the townships of Cass and Patoka Township. Right now, we have leased approximately 1,600 acres, but the project itself, the fenced-in area is around 650 acres. So not all of the ground we have leased will ultimately be a part of the project. Roughly the size of the project is about 650 acres.
So can you clarify if does that mean 650 acres of panels or of fenced
So,
area?
yeah, and I mean, we can, if you want to, this might be a little bit beneficial. I've actually got a couple of different sizes, but this one's a little easier probably to hold. But when we're talking about, it's okay. So,
You can lay it up there even if you
yeah,
like.
if you, here, I've got two. You guys want to hear? I got a bigger view on.
You're fine.
So again, just kind of orient them.
There.
See if the-
Sorry, can we roll that one here?
Yeah, yeah,
For Brent and I?
yeah.
So this was the part that I couldn't run initially, the battery and the.
And I had-
We got that all.
Steve.
Oh, you're here.
Yeah, I'll be right back. And I've got a bigger one there too. So just like I said, orient, and here's the city of Holland. So this is the Huntingburg's ETJ, so this is where they have their extraterritorial jurisdiction. The black line is sort of the, what we call the project boundary. So this is the outline, this is essentially the land that we have under lease. And
US 231 would be approximately.
yeah,
On the border of the edge of the.
yeah, the airport would be kind of right over here, sort of over on this end.
So the first, one of the things I asked you about, I don't know if the board was in on it, I wanted to know how close it was to 231, because I think that's a concern for some people, is how little it was. And I think I asked, was it gonna be more than 400 feet back, and they said yes, so it's gonna be more than that.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a good distance from the, maybe Brent can help you better look. 400 and where's the,
It's probably half mile.
yeah, it's a good distance from the airport.
Okay.
So like I said, the black is sort of the project area, and when you're looking at this, this like little pink magenta type line is actually our fence line. So each one of these is a separate array. And so what would end up happening is we will lease, a portion, we may end up leasing the whole parcel, but there's only gonna be a very small part of it that actually has the panels on it. So let's say we lease this whole thing, you're gonna have a fence, and this is a 6 foot tall, game fence. So it's not chain link, doesn't have barbed wire, anything like this. Looks more like farm fencing. And that's what will be with wooden posts, that's what will be around each individual array. And then in between, there potentially could be some roads that go between them. But for the most part, this is just gonna be open space around it that we will either will maintain, or what we're even doing on some of our projects is the farm will go back to just farm around.
With the farm.
Yeah. So, just a couple of things on the legend here, and I know you were asked questions about
I'm just
this.
seeing all this stuff around it. And it's
So the setbacks are noted in the legend where non-participating, so the non-participating property line is this sort of red. So you can see that we designed everything so that we are staying not only outside of that, but this is sort of the setback from anybody who's not participating. And your ordinance only requires that the equipment be that far back, but we're keeping even our fence, so our fence doesn't even start until after that setback. And then internally, normally there's a 30-foot buffer between the fence line and the arrays as well. So actually that.
If you wanna come up and watch, you can.
I was
over there. I was gonna say, if you wanted to see here, you're welcome to come up.
So that buffer will actually be even wider than what your ordinance requires. Same thing along the right of way, which I know Brent will be interested in this. So the right of way also has that same buffer along the roadway that our fence doesn't even start. Our fence starts at that buffer line, but the equipment is actually even farther in than that. And then these little orange spots, these would be the non-participating homes.
Mhm.
And your ordinance requires 250 feet from equipment. And generally, in most cases, you can sort of see that it's the 250 feet. There's that we've kept even, again, we're using the 250 as the setback to the fence. So it's actually would be an additional 30 feet to the equipment. So that gives an idea. And then this area right here is this is the substation switch yard. So there's power lines that run through here. And that's where the switch yard will connect to. This is our substation, and this is where the batteries are going, right? I'm sorry.
we're just talking about how people
Yeah.
are kind of islands here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so, well, I mean, yeah, and so this is, this is just showing, I mean, obviously they may own more ground around that, but this is just showing, make sure, per your ordinance, that we're at least 250 feet away from. And this is non-participating, there's a few of our landowners that are in the project area, and we don't have the same thing.
This parcel property and the residents actually anyone who sees the parcel property here, they will be leasing the rest.
This actually, in this instance, so this is kind of an odd deal where this is a separate landowner. So it is a separate landowner, but they own, a different landowner owns all the land around, and all they have is an easement to a driveway. But we are still maintaining that buffer, and just to let you know on this, we do plan on also doing landscaping around specifically this one and then these homes over here. We're gonna make sure that we specific, I was saying, we're.
Like a bush line or something?
Yes, yeah, we'll do landscaping along this. This I know specifically just because of the proximity on those. And there is,
But per my request, do you have a more detailed file, or is this it?
well, I mean,
So you're just taking this as, so anytime I see this line, I can
Yes.
assume that is,
yes, that is the.
however, whatever,
That is-
250 feet.
Well, this is the 250,
Right.
and then this is the 50-foot setback.
So instead of every single corner and turn, instead of
Yes.
you having a line, say 50
Yes.
feet,
We
It's a
basically just drawn it in as showing that it's 50 foot and then 50. The purple is the fence line, and then the green is the actual equipment.
so part of my request probably is for ignorance, I just not that real familiar with these.
And I'm happy to provide you with anything.
What I don't, what I guess I want to hold your company accountable that in a year from now, this person comes in, I think they're only 200 feet. And I want to make sure that what we approved or what we were okay with today actually matches.
Yep. Yeah, so like I said, I'm happy to do whatever else information that you may need. We can, and we can, also if it.
Is there anything else on here you wanted to show us? I think we're finished reviewing it.
No, I mean, you all can have them. I mean, I put these up to you.
Okay, thank you.
So these are all for review. I've got 2 copies of the big ones. I've got 2 copies of this, or whoever, you want one, but whoever wants one. But yeah, I'm happy to, we can provide additional if you wanted I know we mentioned like a Google Earth, like you may see, and then provide that. Essentially, this is what it is, but if you want a format, a different format, we'll have to provide that. However else you guys want to review it.
Mr. Wendell, would that be valuable for you to have? We got the KMZ from the last.
It would be nice to have it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I just put them both in Google Earth.
Okay.
I've got them saved on just, they don't mean a whole lot, but it's nice to have them on
Yeah.
record. And it's, to put them on Google Earth doesn't take, it's not hard to do, it's not,
Yeah.
so if you don't mind, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
The last one.
George, you got any questions?
Because I can't get my.
Yes. Yep. And
Which is
he's got a piece of that, which is why we're set back away from those, that, he's got a piece of that.
The black outline for the acreage then. 30.
Yeah, that's all he has. He's
Okay.
another landowner.
He's an island in the middle of
Yes.
this land.
Yeah, and so is, and actually, oh yeah, there you go. That's it. That's the driveway. Yeah, you're right.
These are your driveways.
Yeah. And the other thing that they point out, we also have on there, you'll see these red dots that show the driveway locations. Yeah, that's what, and Brent's, I think, already taken and reviewed all of those driveway locations and issued permits. But that's where the entrance is. So to go back, I guess, our first request, or the main request that we're here for today is the decommissioning agreement.
I gave Mr. Blessing.
Oh,
It's been downstream.
Right, we haven't approved it yet.
It's been downstream too.
So, I reviewed it, I don't have any changes that we haven't already addressed. Mr. Costello? Mr. Stefano? Do you have anything else you want to say about it?
no,
I'll point out, I guess, that for consistency, it's not identical to the one we did for the Duff Solar Park, but it is eerily similar.
well, and so, just as some clarity on that, I think us and Doug both use the same Indiana council. So I think they're pretty similar.
They are, and again, I think the parts that we're missing, they've added what we've requested in the old one too. So again, I think it's in a good form.
Any feedback from anybody in the public? All right, I'm gonna move that we approve I just want to read it as it says here. Crosspoint Solar One LLC, DuBois County Decommissioning Plan Agreement. I'll move that we approve that agreement.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
So on the, so I guess what are your thoughts then on the permit application? Is that something that you're okay with taking up with what it provided today, or do you need something else before we?
If I have your word, you'll provide your TMZ to him. That would be one thing we would need. Mr. Schneer, anything else?
No,
Is there only one copy?
Yeah, unfortunately,
I did not print one, so, or I did, I just didn't bring it with my stack.
And I unfortunately only brought one copy, and that's the one you have in your hand.
I can go over and get one for Marky.
Well,
Is there
will
anything
will they give us one that's
Yes,
signed?
and we can do exactly like we did last time, and I won't take as long this time, but I'll get you a hard copy like we did, and I'll just mail it back to you,
Okay.
if that works.
Do I need to date this thing?
Date it for us. Well, it's gonna be effective when they sign it.
No, I don't have a problem with the application. Do you, Mr. Schneer?
I do not. I guess, do you have that application with you?
Yeah,
To present to the board also. So with that in mind, again, I do have copies of this. There's a proposed permit for construction. This would be permit number 2024-2.
So it goes along this line. They have certain requirements they have to have. They have to turn in an application. It has to have a map that meets the requirements we have. They have to provide us a decommissioning agreement. So we're kind of going in a weird order here. We do the decommissioning agreement. We already approved that. Their application. And then they will, if we find the permit application allowable or in order, then we would agree to the permit for construction.
Correct. As the permitting authority for the county, you would approve the permit if that's how you're inclined.
So on here again, they mentioned all the parcels that they're going to be involved with, the location of the project, and the acreage that they have under option, and the acreage that they intend to use. So just because they intend to use 650, though, you could use up to the whole amount if it became.
Correct, yeah, I mean, that potentially could fluctuate, but what we wanted to make sure we presented, and that's why it's on here, is that you have the full site plan, you have every parcel that we currently have that's part of the project. And, you know, our current design says 650, could that end up being 660? Could it end up being 550? You know, that could potentially fluctuate. The important thing is though that what we're stipulating is that we're gonna, and what we're trying to show you in the site plan is that we're gonna meet all of your requirements that are in the county ordinance. And if there potentially is any other changes, we'll bring those if it's something that seems, well, any changes we're gonna present
Any
to you.
changes you bring to us, if it's a substantive
Yes.
change, then the board may have an opportunity to review it again.
Yeah.
And it would also look at the county highway engineering department.
The other thing about this, I guess we, just as a reminder, we're not saying that we're for or against the project or anything about it, but we're saying that it is a permittable project under our rules, and This next thing would be, that would be stating that we're happy with the decommissioning agreement, we're happy with the application, and we are giving consent that that's permitted. Anybody have any questions or issues with this? I'm comfortable signing the permit today if the board is.
Yes.
Okay. Look at it or anything, or do you have a copy there? Okay. I'll move that we sign the permit for construction of commercial solar energy system. The project name is Crossvine Solar One Energy Park, permit number 2024-2.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
You guys could sign all three of those. We'll leave one with the auditor, give one to Crossvine, and I always just like giving Brett stuff too, so we'll give them.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners. Any other questions or anything? So just so you know also,
You want the application copy or Greg? Do you want that? There's nothing, I mean, it's nothing different.
Should I just keep it with it?
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna make a copy of this decommissioning, so we still have it
Okay.
here.
we're also working with the city because the city has a portion of the project, obviously. The city of Hinesburg, keep saying the city. It's not the only city. We're scheduled to, we presented them a very similar decommissioning agreement back last year when we were going through their process. We're actually looking to finalize that next week, their decommissioning. And then they have their own rules, and we'll be getting an improvement location permit for that portion, which will get a little bit closer to construction just because of the way their stuff is working. So we're currently working with the city, and everything seems to be going well with that as well. So just as enough FYI.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobs.
Thank you.
Courthouse use agreement.
Didn't have the original one now, so I'm gonna make the office of the roots there, but.
Okay, so there's music on Main on May 25th, every Saturday in June, and then a family fun fest on the 22nd. And we have a restroom opening request. Where are the folks playing whenever they're playing live music?
We've been rotating them, so we started it in April, every Saturday, April and May, and then it's been really well, so we were asked if we could do it through June, which the merchants have really liked it. So each week we rotate, whether it's Chocolate Bliss, the Astro, or the Fire Pit Corner.
Then you just cut off half of it, you close
We leave the
traffic?
square open.
Oh,
Yeah, because it's just music, we don't do anything else, it's just, someone set up in the corner playing music, so it's
okay, so
before shopping.
not
It's not an
big
event,
stage.
no, it's
Right.
just microphone, speakers, and they normally set up, like if they're by the Astro, they'll set up right next to the benches, they just kind of play to the crowd sitting there in the benches. It's really more people just walking around shopping and there's music going on.
No food trucks?
No food trucks, no anything, well, there's a food truck, well, because they're allowed to drop in on the weekends. There was one that came on Saturday, that's the first time I've seen that.
Okay.
So, there's just been people down there, so a couple times they've asked if the bathrooms have been open and they haven't been, so. The Family Fun Fest though would be more of a crowd where the square will be closed and there'll be bounce houses, food trucks, activities. That one for sure would be helpful to us if the bathrooms were open on that Saturday.
So my thought on it was, it's on the weekend, it's only a couple hours, and I would support opening the building for those hours until such time that somebody acts out of line and tears something up, or there causes a problem with it, so then I guess I'd be happy to approve with the option to rescind if there's a problem. Not that I'm thinking that there would be. That's where I would stand, how do you think?
Well, I know you guys are working on getting restrooms downtown. I think ultimately we'd like to get away from using them at all.
Yeah, I think
So-
if that goes through with the city, we wouldn't have to request those at all anymore, so
Right.
hopefully if those can go through, then ideally next year we wouldn't have to deal with this, so.
Because I think eventually we'd just like to get away from
Yeah.
it, just for security concerns. But
And I
as
would
far
say
as-
music on Main, it's probably not a big deal if they were open. It just has been asked a couple times if there's public restrooms. So instead of sending someone into a store where they haven't bought anything, it's nice to have the option. But the Family Fun Fest would be the one where there'll be more crowd and
And my hope with this would be, we wouldn't ask anything additional of maintenance. Maintenance, I guess the only thing we would ask is one of our staff members has the door program to be open from 11 to 1.
See if it's fine.
And then-
The times are on there, yeah, and then a little bit longer on the Family Fun Fest Day.
Okay.
And then we just have one other event later in the year that I'll come back and ask for, but sure, that would be it for us. And then like I said, yeah,
It's
ideally,
not like it's all day, so.
just a couple hours.
The new restrooms will be 2 blocks, right? 2 blocks that way in that new park, that's very.
On 4th and
I
Main.
mean, if a person's shopping at
I'm still curious why the city is opposed to having restrooms over here on this lot.
I think just because the activity with the cultural center and the library and really, a lot of the activities down that direction, it makes more sense to have it in the center of all that activity at 4th and Main versus up here. And if someone's on the square shopping, they can walk to the restrooms down there. Just so it's all, and if the courtyard, like Heart of Jasper's working on doing, goes in, then the public restrooms makes sense to have all right there in the center of that activity.
you're satisfied that the downtown shopping public would be okay to walk a couple blocks to do that?
That's right at home. Yeah, I mean,
Nope, that sounds good with me.
it's better than not having bathrooms.
Sure.
And there's not an option on the square to put a public restroom, so. And again, with the activity and the train that way and the cultural center and the library, that's really gonna be more of the center of the activity on 4th and Main there.
Okay, I'll move that we approve the times requested for, what was it, May 25th and the Saturdays in June.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Alright,
Motion carries.
Thank you guys. Have a good
Do
day.
you want these back? I don't
No,
know if
you
we
can
need
have,
all
I just
these
didn't have the original anymore, so.
copies. Anybody want to keep a copy or
Yeah.
no? I mean, you know, it's all every Saturday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Say, will you email that to me so that I have those dates?
do you want one of the papers?
It doesn't make any difference.
You're welcome. All right, Mr. Rumfeld, Ron Betts via Teams for computer network updates.
I have them available, they can see you, I haven't pointed at you, so.
Can you hear me, Chad?
Got it, I can hear you.
Yes, so the end of October 31st, your existing Nimble SAN, your storage area network, redundant SAN, HPE would be, as support data, was going to be 2025, it's October 31st, 2024. So we gotta get your Nimble SAN upgraded, your storage area network. To put together numbers of replacing it with HPE, the like-for-like product, and the solution pricing to you was gonna be more than coming to you with a scaled solution, which would be replacing the SAN, redundant SANs with the new storage area network, but all new servers as well, plus give you a 5-year warranty for less than what it would cost to just replace like for like and stay with HPE Nimble. So the value and the solution is a fantastic value for doing this versus trying to stay and keep you within the HPE portfolio. We have many counties, hospitals, and state organizations, schools that are migrating to scale. It's a fantastic product, and that was the recommendation that we made to the county to take care of the need that's at hand. That's kind of a high-level summary of what you guys are looking at. I got Riley here and Matt, our new data center guru, and Riley, the county's net admin, so we have all the team together to address any and all questions that you might have.
This would affect every piece of our system, right? I mean, our.
Yeah, so we have some servers at the courthouse and the auditor's office, and there's also some in this building in the basement that would be replaced with this solution.
I mean, so if we don't do it, we have a piece of equipment that won't be serviceable and then.
Well, you won't have any storage. We'll have servers that run, but you have no storage for them. So I think, Ron, may want to go a little bit back in history. We put in the new system, then we replaced the servers in 21, 22.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Captain, the history, Chad, is the history is the existing redundant nibble SAN and the storage area network was installed 7 years ago, 2017 in November. And the existing HPE servers were installed 4 years ago. So you have 4-year-old servers, 7-year-old storage arrays, and the solution we're recommending is new servers and storage redundant with DR, with backup, with a 5-year warranty. So that's what we're recommending, kind of the history of the products.
The storage was in 2017.
Storage 2017 November, and the servers were 4 years ago in 2020.
So what we were trying to do is we're trying to break it into parts so that we're not doing the whole thing at once, which we're gonna be doing that now,
Yeah,
but at a cheaper cost.
because it's all confined to those units now. Over technology is advanced enough where you just have all the units together, so you can kind of have it all at the same time for renewals in the future.
If you told us that we run HPE, we have to have HPE, we have to have a like-for-like replacement, the price we bring to you would be more than $129 to just replace what you have and stay with the HPE name. So it's
The price would be more just replacing the storage piece of it, and then in 3 years, you'd have to replace the servers again too. So that's,
I'm trying to look up for the county to get the best value we possibly can, as we always do for any expenditures that we have.
I don't know that I'm not gonna learn the ins and outs of this system today. I don't care to. The bottom line I see is the people that we trust with these services have a solution that will replace what we need and then some for a better value than just a partial replacement. So I would say we don't have much of an option other than to accept and move forward.
I disagree.
I don't disagree either. I mean, I see the importance of it all.
The council did approve to use ARPA funding to pay for this, so.
Where would it come from when that money's gone? If we were doing this in 3 years?
In the past, we've done it out of KimCap funds.
So are we looking, do we have they can send us an agreement, correct?
Yes.
So has anything changed on this quote from the 6th when it was put out?
The proposal document that's dated May 6th is the most current, and the valid document, the proposal dated May 6th, yes.
I'll move that we approve the signing the quote that was provided on May 6th for the scale computing solution and the nimble storage upgrade.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
There's 2 things to sign, Chad. Should be up there somewhere. Ron, will there be any downtime when we do this? I imagine that's
Yeah,
maybe.
there will be, but we can schedule those times to work for you guys. It's gonna be minimal compared to when we did the file server, and all that, because it's just picking it up, copying it, and then telling it, hey, we can do it this time. So 4 o'clock on Thursday, move it over.
And then you'll be available the next day.
Yeah, I think the proposal even has a nomenclature that states it's gonna be, I think 50 to 30 minutes of downtime.
That's not
Yeah.
bad. Especially if we do it at 4, because most time people are gone then, so.
Okay, is there anything else you got for us today?
I don't believe so, no?
Anything else, Mr. Green? No, thank you.
Thank you very, very much. We appreciate your business. Look forward to taking this forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
I'll take a quick break, then we'll come back and get the MOUs.
You have something? No? Yeah, I'll just mark it.
Yes. I'll send copies when I'm finished up here. Uh-huh.
Yes.
I don't think so. I was gonna ask you about that computer downstairs, just computer. I had an email from Brian that said something about needing HDMI cable, which I have, but I didn't know. Because we're putting it, so I'll just have to call Brian and see what's going on. I have one,
Oh,
so I'll just stop down there and call Brian if I need him.
yeah.
That's the only thing I. And I guess a phone showed up and I gave it to Jackie this morning, so. It's a good thing. I'm not anything.
Okay. Working hard over there at the Justice Center, that's where my,
That's where you've been living?
yeah, pretty much.
So what happened to the film?
That's right. They reported it and there was a configuration issue on the device, phone system. Yeah, it was working, which is weird, and then it stopped. So Jake yeah, because you could call over there, they couldn't hear you.
Well, that's what they were saying. I saw that they posted they couldn't talk to people.
Yeah.
I was out of town, so.
Yeah, we got it figured out.
Sounds good.
Me and Jake there.
Good.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yes.
Oh, that they're gonna talk about it? Is this the good one? Or the one I printed? Probably not.
Oh, I didn't change it.
We were selling around.
That's good. I know it's good.
Okay, I'll give you this one and get rid of this.
So we had to do it later.
This is the copy.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't think- And then Steve's gonna get his folks to sign it, bring it to you.
Okay.
They're fine with it. Their secretary, I think, was out all
When they
weekend.
built it.
So he's gonna bring me a copy with his signature, so then I just add a page to it?
His signature pages is by itself.
Okay.
Just take his and slip it in.
That works, that
Oh,
works.
yeah, you have a rate on your shit. You have to put in the system, so. The actual cost.
That goes with our credit card. So you can have credit cards.
Well, then they automatically come back and say, oh,
What's
yeah,
monitoring
on this. You got it.
I have it because it's last night I read it.
To be able to move, you know.
So I got it, I was like, I really want that.
Where no one else in the whole street.
I know, but you can't.
No, I did see that one. I don't disagree.
So,
I just-
how do you, because you do nothing about it. But conveniently, the realtor know.
We don't have to
Recommend
This is you have to.
our first.
You don't give credit.
And I checked the restaurants, too many people that
You know, I mean,
do radar tests. So it's like,
so, we need to decide what we're going to.
oh, yeah. And, yeah, and there's things. It's
Going into that,
you know, came through.
you're going one direction, and then we'll change.
Sidewalk.
Of course, we'll I should say we did change the word.
Everything, the traffic and stuff that goes up, and it's like,
We know that you're going to.
yeah, yeah.
People say they're going and then they don't go, and I keep their credit.
So, I didn't understand it either because we had a fire. And so.
You're not, there's issues.
Oh, no, this is everything, I'm just trying to think it through, but that might be a good idea to bring it under consideration.
Choice of where you want.
All right, we'll be back to business here. The next item up, we're 15 minutes ahead of schedule, but I don't think the public's don't mind. Memorandum of understanding here between the Du Bois County Commissioners and the Du Bois Volunteer Fire Department. So the idea behind this goes back to the air conditioning in the
Ambulance bay.
Yeah, in the ambulance bay. Mr. Schneider did a good job of explaining in detail what's going on with this. Has everybody had a chance to look it over? Are there any questions with it?
No question.
Du Bois Volunteer Fire is also in agreement with it, and they're gonna be bringing their signature pages to the auditor's office this week.
That being the case, I don't know that there's any real discussion to be had. I think we all support it. I think the council has found a way to make it work too, therefore the Board of Commissioners of Du Bois County does now agree to fund up to not exceed $5,500 for the ambulance bay HVAC project as it's described here. So I'll move that we approve this.
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
So everyone as well.
Those are signed. Relocation of speakers in the annex.
Do you guys want a copy of this quote? I brought one if you want one. I wanted to ask you about the plan for me to move out of this building. There is a speaker that was installed in my area. When we have a tornado warning in this building, every employee goes down to the basement. When I move, if that door, I don't know what's gonna happen, but there's a speaker in my spot. Should we move it to the break room? That's the question. It was a
It's in your
concern.
particular office or it's in the larger area?
Well, it's not in my office, it's in the open basement, you know, where Narissa sits. So it was a question that came, I personally never thought about it, but it was something that was brought to my attention. So I got a quote just in case, and I'm here to ask you about what your opinion is. I don't know what the plan is.
Well, we don't have a plan for it to infill. People are fighting for the space.
Well, I'm sure. I don't know why nobody wants to go down there. I mean, my God, it's the best place.
Well, we do have a conference table from community corrections and chairs that we can put in there. We are always needing space. This room's booked a lot, the basement room, the conference room. We need space for people to be able to meet.
And I
Not
think
that that's the ideal place, though.
it would be nice to have a little bit of storage space for a couple of these items that maybe have value. We don't need them immediately. Once a year, have R2 down there or one of these auction places.
I just can't imagine that you would leave that basement door unlocked all the time, though, because you can get into where the computer networking is and where the boiler room is. I think that, I mean, my opinion is that door should be locked at all times unless there's somebody down there. So that's what makes me worry about that speaker, because if somebody goes down in the basement, they're not gonna hear that everything's good or whatever.
So what is the speaker for?
For like if we have tornado warnings or we have active shooter drill, we have whatever it might be, some kind of a major
Speaker.
emergency.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
If somebody pushes their panic button, it'll announce it, the panic buttons, and so that tells us lockdown.
Or like if I issue a tornado warning, I'll pick up the phone and they'll hear that. Du Bois County's under a tornado warning. please go to your safe spot.
Well, depending what we're gonna do with that space is gonna determine who takes the speaker out or not, I guess. I mean, even if the computer networking.
But if the
is
door's locked all the
downstairs,
time, those people that go on a tornado warning will not be able to get into that room to hear, you know what I'm saying, like if it's
Unless we
a,
did a badge or something.
yeah, I don't know.
You would have to hear it from the speaker upstairs.
I think it makes sense to, A, lock the door, and B, with the speaker, if the door's locked, so. And especially if it costs $425.
Yeah, he said it was not a big problem to move it. I mean, it won't be a big ordeal or
I
anything.
guess my thought would be, why would we just leave that speaker there and put a new one?
Yeah, I don't know what the price of a new one is. I don't know
Because
that.
somebody would be in that office, maybe in the future, it might be valuable to have the speaker there, so.
Yeah, I can get a quote for that and come
Let's
back.
just see
if
about
that's-
adding a speaker, that might be.
I can't imagine it would be all that much different.
Yeah, do you want me to just come back at the next meeting or?
That'd be fine. I
Okay.
think that'd be.
Leave it?
Yeah, leave it
Just have
at
to-
one.
Yep, okay.
Not that we move somebody in there later and you put a speaker back.
Right, that'd be okay.
I'm gonna put some money on that though. Let's see who gets moved down in there.
Well, there will be somebody will want it, but I think initially we'll use it for conferencing and
Yeah.
for some storage.
So we're gonna have to stay.
Yeah, I like that idea. I just wasn't sure, when we talked about it, I really didn't think about just adding one. We just thought it would stop, trying to save some money.
Is there a way, we probably don't have a way to test a particular speaker, right? It either goes over all of them or none of them.
Right, I can either do the whole annex, the whole courthouse, or the courthouse and annex at the same time. And I'll still be able to do all that even in the move when I go to the new location, so that will still be part of our protocol to.
So could you and Marissa just test it at 4:15 on a day and have one of you stand there and say, can you hear it?
You can. And you mean to hear it out in the hallway or in the little,
Right, if I was standing next to the elevator in that.
you would not be able to hear it.
You can barely, when you're standing at the door here, barely hear.
What?
He wants to go meet in the basement.
I was gonna suggest that, maybe we do.
Yeah, I know they're joking.
I just know that the space around here is at a premium. There's things that I can't set up in here because they're using it until the time I need it.
Yeah, in the commissioner's office, you used to use the old one.
I still do. I'm in here, I'm over there every weekend.
Chad, you can have my office.
I do that. All right.
All right.
Yeah, if you'll do that, if you don't mind asking for that.
No, not at all, and I'll just plan to come back at the June meeting then and let you know what that price is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next thing is a discussion item on House and Roll Act 1158, which is now Title 36, Article 2, Chapter
Will be.
220.
It's not yet.
It's not, July 1st.
There you go.
July, it's getting
I'm very
close.
excited.
So Greg sent these to us again. Let's just go through them kind of roughly. So this will be effective July 1st. It says that applies to our county because we don't have a consolidated city. Contract is defined as something that is for the purchase of real property, personal property, or services. The only exclusion would be for certain bonding issues. And contractual requirements, it says this, that a contract entered into by the county, including a contract executed by a county officer, must meet the following requirements. Must be executed in the name of the county. Any property purchases for public use shall be titled to or documented as owned by the county. So, Mr. Chair, would you say that would mean then that every piece of anything that's owned by the county is owned by Du Bois County or commissioners of Du Bois County?
Correct.
Instead of, nothing could be Health Department, Du Bois County,
Right.
Community Corrections of Du Bois County.
Like Highway Department, when your vehicles are titled.
Everything
They're
is
all
titled
titled
Commissioners
Du
of
Bois
Du Bois
County.
County.
Just like that. It wouldn't be Du Bois County Highway Department, it would be Du Bois
Everything
County.
we have is under Du Bois County Commissioners. One fewer puts the board of same thing.
But what I'm getting at is my belief is that there's some departments that have contracts, and those contracts that we don't know about would say they're departmental.
I think there are some grant contracts out there that say like Du Bois County Health Department.
Correct.
But trying to get them to change that.
Right, but if we were to implement a local ordinance that mirrored this, with whatever additions we agree to, going forward, every office would know this is the standard.
So, there are some things that are musts and there are some things that are mays.
Right.
So the contract must be in the name of the county.
So we have, right, there's no way around that.
Correct. If you're contracting with the county, then it must be in our name. And then
So I think it'd be good for us to have a uniform name or whatever that is. County of DuBois or Board of Commissioners. of DuBois
I would
County.
agree, because I think this board owns land throughout the county and at least 3 variations of names. But yeah, going forward,
I know our Sam's is County of DuBois,
we can do it that way.
and I can't change that. That's the way our registration is with the federal government for a grant.
We need to make everything
Because if I don't put it,
same way, since you can't change.
I have to put DuBois, comma, County of, and if I don't, it'll ding me every time and won't let me through.
Our titles are commissioners of DuBois County.
The vehicles are under DuBois County Commissioners. Or Board of DuBois County Commissioners. DuBois County Board of Commissioners, I think that.
And your suggestion would be,
Well, there's certain things that I can't change, is what I'm saying.
that's what I'm saying, is to follow the
I-
suit.
Again, to say that it's always going to be the same thing, I think is fine, but I think any variation of those 3
Those
things,
names.
it all comes back to, this board is the executive body of the county. It has to say commissioner on it, it should say DuBois County, Indiana, County of DuBois, something like that. The same as there's not a, city of Jasper probably doesn't own things as the mayor, or the board of public works.
Civil city, civil towns.
Yes.
So one thing I like about us saying commissioners is that anyone that looks at it then knows who is the board or the authority that has the say in it.
Correct.
Not so much for right now, I don't think we really have too many problems with it, but because if the health department, I'm just picking on them, so I'm thinking of it, if something is owned by DuBois County, they're part of DuBois County. It's more specific if it says who the.
Now, there are certain things that I sign as a financial officer, so.
So if we had to pick a name, I would just pick DuBois County Commissioners as the contractual name. So anything entered into by the county, including one by a county officer, would say that. Anybody have an issue with that?
No.
So the only place that it would be anywhere different would maybe be our Sam's number, right? Because you're not gonna change that.
I can't change it.
Okay. The next portion 2.8-5, required standard contractual language. County executive may, this is one of the mays, so we don't have to do this, but I think it might be in our best interest, require standard contractual language to be used in all contracts entered into by the county, including contracts executed by a county officer. The ordinance may include these certain things, termination provisions, venue requirements. So venue requirements is something Mr. Schneer regularly has to ask for a change. Indemnifications, disputes, a lot of that stuff are things that we have boilerplate language that we want in every contract. So if we could make it by ordinance, that would probably clarify it, and Mr. Schneer could just send the ordinance.
Correct, and I would add other things to this. These are things that can be included. I would add additional things, like we just talked about, all the suspension and debarment, E-Verify, investments and hiring, all of those contract languages as well.
Everything you're aware of that should be involved, should be. So does anybody have a problem with Mr. Schneer making some standard contractual language that we could implement by ordinance?
In drafting an ordinance.
Okay, so those items. Next, it says, this is 8-6, the county executive may adopt an ordinance to delegate additional authority to approve contracts to other county officers and employees. In addition to county executive's authority to approve, county executive may adopt an ordinance to delegate additional authority to approve contracts to other county officers and employees. So at some point in the future, if there was a county administrator, we could say that they, for example, we could delegate authority to that person to make those, to sign, or other county officers. But at this time, I don't know that there's a reason for that. If every contract filters through our body for approval, then there's I think that's the ultimate transparency.
You have an ordinance for me to sign on your behalf after your approval for federal highway and for INDOT.
Correct, that's after our approval.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
You couldn't, you're not supposed to do that unilaterally.
Right.
So, Mr. Chair, it seemed like this last thing that you sent us, the Burns Code portion, doesn't have everything that's in the,
There's two, I sent a second one,
oh, maybe I missed that one.
I can share it, but yes, it's the same as what's in that annual act.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through a little bit of this.
Right, so there are two,
This ends at 2.8-4.
right, there are two chapters added, 2.8, which you just talked about, and then chapter 2.9, which is the process to review the county contract.
Yeah, that should be the same thing.
You want my copy?
No, I think I have notes on here, one, nothing is significantly changed.
No.
So we have the option to delegate authority if we like on that. Review of county contracts. So Mr. Schneider, is this portion, chapter 2.9, is this a may or a shall here?
I have read it as it's a shall.
Okay, so the chapter, here's what it says. As used in this chapter, these people are the county officers. If funds have been appropriated by the county fiscal body, the county officer must have the county executive execute the contract or submit the contract for review under this chapter.
Now, so my interpretation, only if this involves a county officer, okay? So those are all elected officials, but for the judicial branch.
Right.
And prosecuting,
Right.
part of the judicial. All other elected offices, at least based on my memory of what all gets elected, they are county officers. Just clarification. So it's not reviewing anything that involves circuit or superior court or the prosecutor's office.
So can one of those, in your interpretation, that can,
They're not under this statute.
they would have their own rules, possibly somewhere else on his own, if it's been, if he's got the money or buy vehicles.
I suppose if he has a budget to do so. It's just unlikely.
And what's that?
I said, which I would be unlikely.
I agree.
So you're saying,
The requirement to review the contract involves the county officers, okay, or the health department and the highway department who are
Under the executive.
Under the executive. So you fall under that same category, as that it would need to be reviewed.
One example is the mailings for the county treasurer. I don't think we saw those this year. And that would be a contractual agreement that under this, if they're an officer, should go through. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay, the county officer must submit to the county auditor. So as Mr. Schneider and I were talking about it, it's like, this is probably a mixed bag of good and bad. And the good of it is it may increase transparency. It may increase the amount that we understand about what's being contracted under the county. And therefore, the public may have a better understanding of it. But the bad news is this part. So if Sandy has a contract for auditor items, right, a service that they provide, somebody provides, and she wants the contract, then here's what they need to do. They have to submit to the, so a person would submit to the county auditor, or if it was herself, just have it, a request for review, a copy of the proposed contract, copies of the request and the contract to the president and the county attorney. The executive and the attorney must review the proposed contracts. The county executive shall notify the officer of the results of the review. And Mr. Schneider, are you thinking that means it doesn't come in front of the full board for a vote? It just is considered by the attorney and the county executive president?
So we'd have the 20 days to review it and authorize whether it gets signed. This is one where you could delegate the county officer to sign it. McDavid would be allowed to sign it on behalf of the county because it's in the county's name, but it's been reviewed then by the executive and by the county attorney, and then it's okay for them to go ahead and enter into it on the county's behalf.
How do you know that you've reviewed it?
I have to.
I mean, there's a lot of paper passing back and forth.
Probably be electronic.
So all the things that Mr. Blessinger said, if it may benefit, it will create more work.
Because then I have to get it up on Gateway.
Correct.
The way I would look at it, I don't want to make any unilateral decisions. If there's a 20-day window, then I would think every contract can be sent to the county executive president, whoever that'll be at the time, and the attorney. And at our next meeting, we would bring to the board for full consideration how I would like to process it. I don't want to make decisions on behalf of the board or say a contract is good without everyone having a chance to look at it. And so again, if it comes in that Brent has a contract for striping the roads, a local company was going to stripe the roads for us, they can do it cheaper than us. He would probably look at it to form and say, it looks like it's in order, it meets all of our boilerplate. I would look at it maybe from a different angle. Of, is this really the intention of what I think the board of commissioners or the council wants to do? And if we as a board would agree to sign off on it. Does that sound like a decent process?
Yes, which is what we do with a lot of things already. It's just that it would be for everything.
Sure. And the thing is too, it doesn't even have a minimal amount. Like the minimum amount, I mean, it should be anything.
Nor did I find, again, a dollar threshold to require this process.
The thing that's kind of another problem with it, when I was treasurer, John would come in and sell me notepads, sticky pads from an office supply. Do we have a contract with him? Is it just a purchase of a previously agreed upon thing? I don't know what level becomes a contract and what is just something else. Because in here it talks like a contract is an agreement to buy something.
Correct.
So every time he would stop in my office, it'd be a verbal
So
contract.
we're going to create a procurement of anything?
I don't think that's the intention.
I don't think that's the intention either, nor I don't think that's our
I mean,
our
monitor Amazon
desire.
for a week, you'd be amazed at stuff that gets bought.
Right. So I think if there is as an example, like if we have an account set up somewhere, that allows for the constant purchasing of supplies and goods, that initial contract would be reviewed in the name of the county. Again, just bring up Amazon where there's probably non-negotiable terms to begin with because they're big. That's reviewed, that's approved, and then every purchase after that is not subject to this review process, in my estimation.
I agree. So,
At least I don't want it.
yeah,
Oh my God.
we don't want to do that.
You're creating a nightmare.
So then we would, the county executive, then after our meeting, we say it's approved and send an email back to whoever sent the contract saying that it's been approved by the county for signature.
Correct. For signatures either by this board or if you want to designate that individual, similar to what we're doing with Mr. Winnow, where he signs it on behalf of the county.
And if they send us something and Mr. Schneider says this thing's out of order, we can't use it, he could send it back to him, say, oh, it doesn't say E-Verify, it's unacceptable. That would be one way.
Who's going to explain all this? Because I don't know if I even understand it all.
And then if we, so if I was to look at it and say this isn't acceptable for one reason or another, I'd have to give a explanation and a recommendation for making it acceptable. Mr. Chair would simply say, you left off E-Verify and we want the venue to be DuBois County. Those would be simple. And then there's a review process here. Greg, I'd like you, if you don't mind, explain the section 12. It says this section only applies to a contract that the county executive does not disapprove under section 7. It's found to be unacceptable. That way the county officer may do the following: revise the contract and file a new request, or I'm looking at here, execute the contract if they determine that it applies. I don't guess I understand exactly what the
Part of the issue is that, it calls back to different things. So if
There's another portion that says if we don't respond within so many days, it's
But
considered
if
good.
you don't do it within 20 days, then it's considered to be acceptable. You have to opt, I guess. It's our burden to say that it's not acceptable. So if the county executive does not disapprove it, which means you approve it, or you
You
were
didn't act on it.
or you were silent on it, took no action, and is found to be unacceptable by the county executive under section 9, which dealt with it didn't meet certain procurement rules, or it was unacceptable because it didn't meet our boilerplate language. The county officer, so we'll just use the treasurer, they may revise the contract, or they can execute the contract. If in their estimation, which I don't understand why you would have all this, but again, I didn't write it. The county officer determines that the contract does in fact comply with 36.2-2.8, which was all the stuff you read the first time. That was the initial section. And I think, but I believe that it could also be voidable. So if they followed that process, it can be voided by the county executive. That's the next section, 13.
So under the terms of what we talked about here, do we have a problem with him starting to put together an ordinance that?
So I think an ordinance would be good under the 2.8 section, which sets forth our boilerplate provisions. I don't get the impression that we're going to designate any authority to other individuals within that ordinance as a standing rule. And then I think what would be beneficial for the 2.9, which is actually the review of the contracts, is that at your department head meetings, just reiterate the fact that here's a process. I can try to simplify this down maybe as here's what you need to do. And once they do that, then here's what we need to do.
Right.
And then report back to them, that most likely the first or second meeting, depending on how changes need to be made.
If we could have an ordinance that explains this as best we can, and then have a flow chart that makes it workable.
So correct me if I'm wrong, the ordinance is going to just be the boilerplate provisions that we want included in the contracts. I don't know that we're passing an ordinance that adopts the state law, because the state law is telling us what we need to do. So I'm looking at 2.9 as these are must provisions. So therefore, we'll create a flow chart of what this, when you get a contract as a county office, what do you do with it?
Right.
And it's just maybe paring this down and simplifying it into a flow chart form. You do this, we do this.
Right. It would give basically for example.
Correct. Right.
Department wants to procure a contractual item.
Yes.
Contract is, negotiate terms, provided to the county executive and county attorney. It's reviewed, 20 days, goes to this board. Is approved or not approved?
Approved or edited, or, yeah. Here are your potential outcomes.
So if you want me to help with any of that, just let me know. We'll have a meeting or a work session or any of the commissioners to meet with you. I suppose. Anybody have any comments or additions or subtractions to this thing? Have you heard enough about it already?
I'm good. You're good.
I don't think Mr. Wright really wants any extra work, but we want whatever the rules are to just to be followed, because I don't want an audit to come back and say, did you know that department spent $20,000 on this item and you didn't turn in the copy of the contract of the state as.
Right, the important part is they need to do the first part. They need to turn it in to the auditor's office to get reviewed. If we do nothing, the county executive does nothing, or the county attorney does nothing with it, then they can go ahead and enter into it because they'll deem it to be approved. At which point then you'll upload that contract. If we skip that whole review process.
I don't mind as part of our work to give it a review and say, I see no issue with it, or give them some feedback. But I don't want to make it burdensome on the office holders or on or anybody. But to give it an extra set of eyes is probably a fine thing for transparency. And then to get it to the state so that everyone can see.
What I don't want is people signing contracts, nobody knows about it, and then I don't have them uploaded. Then they're not even good then.
They're potentially voidable. Correct. Okay, so that'll be a work in progress for maybe second meeting in June.
And then I do think
I
we need to
will-
plan a department head meeting to review it.
I think it's my turn to have the next department head meeting, so
I
I
was
can,
gonna suggest it anyways.
so I can try to.
When is that?
We haven't said it, but
Okay. So I will not be here for the second meeting in June.
I don't think you're gonna,
But if that's a budget one anyways, you're not gonna have time to.
Well, how about you give us, maybe some preliminary items? and
For
then
the
we can
first
review
meeting
them.
and then the ordinance, because again, if you pass, it's not effective till July 1 anyways.
Right.
so I think in July is when you need to tell people.
So he can give, so on our agenda, we can have review his preliminary notes, and then we can do it for passage in July.
July 1st is your first meeting, just coincidentally.
That works out.
It can be effective no sooner than that day anyways.
Great, that's good. Well, I mean, I guess that's not actually true, some of these things are already rules.
Yeah.
But I don't know that anything in that new law would preclude us from requiring boilerplate language on contracts anyway, would it?
No.
So I mean, we,
Now we just have a statutory authority
Yes.
instead of home rule.
all right,
So
Mr.
you will
Chair,
not be here June 17th.
That is correct.
you have anything else, Mr. Chairman, for other than boards?
I do not.
You will not be here June 7th.
That's right.
July 1, we need the contract approved, right?
You mean the
This
ordinance
ordinance.
consideration? Sandy, looks like you have some miscellaneous items for the board.
Well, I have one quick question. Since the 4-H Council was just here with their budgeting, do they need to come back?
I don't believe so. Mr. Foster, do you want them to come back and tell us what they need again?
We know what their ask is, so.
Well, TriCap RSVP is no longer, so I'll take them off. Do you want somebody from TriCap?
No.
Okay. At the last meeting, we talked about 4 chairs from small claims. 2 of them have been repurposed in offices. There's still 2 remaining that need to be declared surplus.
For which one?
You know, from small claims. Remember the ones you couldn't find? It's got had, people had tried them out, they didn't like them. Two offices didn't like them.
I'll move we declare the 2 chairs surplus from small claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay. The Verizon. You want me to bring that up? Our cell phone plan is changing to a state contract. They're saying they all have to be, and he wanted me to sign off before July something.
I think there was a, it seems like we have a choice, so I think we just agree to sign off on it if anybody wants to look at it again. We'll save money on,
Our plan is under DuBois County Superior Court. Back in the day, each office had their own plans and they merged them, and that's the phone number they picked.
oh yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up, because these were sent to us and I was curious, why is it under that name, going back to the contract thing? So at some point in the past, but it's really a county
It's
contract.
the county's plan. That's the phone number that they picked because the county doesn't have a cell phone. They picked that office because it does. I have tried to get him to take Superior Court off. I cannot get him to take it off.
So my
It's kind of like our Amazon account. It's like Kathy Hope in there. They will not take my name off.
So I would say that I would move that we go ahead and approve the signing of the State of Indiana BPA number 71748 for the Verizon Wireless as the vendor.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. So, do you want me to sign or do you want to? It had to be
I think my name's on file with them.
Anybody have a problem with Sandy signing on behalf of the county for this? Okay. Anything else?
I don't know. I don't think I have, but we don't need that.
What did we come up with? It's something that we'll look into, we're gonna make a call to the state, and see if we can make an improvement there. Commissioner, anything else? Anything from the public?
The audit is just about finished. We should be having our exit in June.
Have they hit everything that we discussed at the interview entrance thing? I couldn't think of what the word for it. Did we met every department and hit everything they said they would? Okay. That sounds good. And then, did we schedule an exit interview?
It's in June.
But for the second.
Have you signed a letter for me to send over?
So I think we'll see how that turns out. I'm sure it'll be fine. It is most years. Commissioner Onstetter, anything today?
The only thing they did request is if you got a fraud email questionnaire, please return it. They need it.
And I'd love to, because I usually fill those out right when they send them. I think they send it out like in the middle of May.
They sent it out at the beginning. They send them to all the commissioners and councilmen, and then they randomly pick other people. And they'd like at least the 7 to 10 of them to respond.
So what I do is I search my email with that lady's last name, it's a unique last name.
Kendall.
And it's
Kendall.
Kendle.
Stuff a little different, yeah.
It's not-
I do have it.
So if you look that up.
Just
I think it was
respond, even
sometime-
if you don't know what to respond, just say, or just leave it blank, just respond.
Because I started.
Yes, they would like
I
this
started
back.
it, but
They
I
need
didn't
them.
finish it. Yeah, I do have it.
So if you have any concerns, you share them there. If you think everything's fine, you share them.
And that's why they like them at the beginning, because if you have concerns, then they can respond to that, but they're just finished, so.
Understand?
Commissioner Stefano, anything else?
Yes, I have one item. I had a gentleman reach out to me last week. He lives on South Meridian Road, and he has got a hidden drive. I wanted to know what your thoughts were as far as putting signage up. He has officially clocked people coming down that road, and I'm sure it's peak times going and to work, doing 53, 54 miles an hour. And to go, I actually went back there, and I think Steve did too, exactly where this drive is. And it's coming over that hill going north, it's pretty dangerous. So there's a few residents, he's not the only one on there. There's a few residents that are really concerned. I think we need to definitely take steps to do something, or he's gonna take it upon himself to put a sign out there, and I don't think it would be quite appropriate. So, that's how I feel.
Is it an approved driveway? Was it approved at some point? Or
Yeah, it was.
did the board of commissioners have to give a special exception for it, or how is it? Or is it new, is it old? I don't know the nature of the.
It's an older driveway.
It's been there for a while.
Probably grandfather, then before we actually had a lot of our stuff in place.
Oh, okay.
So as far as we know, it's a legal driveway. If we wouldn't approve today, maybe,
Probably not.
because the line of sight's not good, or whatever. What is the speed limit? 35?
45 is
I
45.
think it's 45.
You're going up around the hill through the trees, and then as you're going north, you come out of the trees, and it's in a curve and down the hill, so there's not much sight distance there.
And now that the road is blacked out, I don't know, the speed might get years more.
So this guy's.
Miles an hour.
So his complaint is people are going up to 8 miles per hour over the
Too
speed limit,
fast, way too fast.
which isn't an extreme amount compared to what I was
It's
thinking. I was
not,
thinking
but
if it was
it's kind of
35.
where
it
that
would be-
one driveway is positioned. I can see his concern. I really can. So,
My thing is, I think putting up a sign that says hidden driveway does nothing.
well, and that was.
Hidden driveway signs do no good. There's been several.
There's already one on
studies.
Oregon.
Yeah, there's been several studies done for hidden driveway signs. What hidden driveway signs do is give you, the resident that lives there, confidence that people are going to slow down. People initially do slow down, but eventually they speed back up
Right
and
back to where it was.
if not go faster. They get immune to signs.
Yes.
The same as what our speed limit signs are.
And that was my next question is if we do put a sign up there talking about the hidden driveway, Is there another kind of a sign that we could put there?
No, there's,
Not
you
any
can put a
kind of-
flashing beacon sign or whatever, if you wanna do
Right.
that too, or he can push a button and the beacon signs up, but then if you put one up, then you're gonna put several up. You know, we can drop the speed limit to 35, it's definitely a possibility, I'm not saying we can't, but if you put the sign up, again, are people gonna drive 35?
Who's gonna police it?
Correct.
That's,
Right.
I was gonna say, that's the sign you need, it has to say DuBois County Sheriff on the side of the parks and driveway.
It's the law.
And he goes, zoop,
See it, yeah.
because somebody gets pulled over there at 4 o'clock once a day for a month, and the people that use that road would figure it out, so I think my thought was try to ask, law enforcement to enforce.
And there
And I
is,
have reached out to them, but I don't know how much
Yeah.
they can go out there
and there is a
send.
state trooper that lives on that road.
Yes, I think it's a
Is
state
there another
policeman.
suggestion that the highway department has?
You know, you could take drastic measures, as much as cutting trees back, opening the line of sight up, you could do that. But that gets out of the right of way, that becomes on this property.
Probably
property
yes,
owner.
this is probably.
And it might be on someone else too, yeah, I don't know where the property line is in that case. I mean, there's things we could do there, but that's getting permission from another property owner. If
Does he have frontage for another?
he has another driveway to this, north more, that's got more site.
That's safer.
Yeah, but it's I think there's a grade change, it drops down, and the outbuilding he's got is a lower elevation.
It is down
And
to
it's
the
you gotta get that stair step down, I mean, it would be
I'm not suggesting this, but is there a way that we can down a entrance or exit?
So you do, the way I understand it, I haven't looked at it very much, but now that you have the ordinance, you do have the legal authority to say it's an unsafe spot and they can't use it. I don't know if you want to do that, but you do have that ability. Because it is your public.
I want the guy to be safe and to feel comfortable coming out of the driveway, but really, if the speed limit is X and people are breaking that law, it doesn't matter what sign they put there, they're breaking the law.
Yeah, I know
And
he
he's not
has
the only
mentioned,
one in
he has
that.
mentioned the sign before to us too. And I don't think he's gonna get the desired response that he wants. It may become a tourist attraction if he has a sign up too.
What does he want you to do? Just put up a sign?
He just wants to put a sign up, you know.
Something a lot,
I think it might
something
be-
really visible, I mean, besides a hidden drive sign.
Might make
He's
you feel
not the
better.
only resident.
It might make him feel better, but I don't know that it's gonna cure the problem. You know, in all honesty, people are running that road, I mean, you know,
At peak times.
looking at cell phones, I mean, that's just, that's what people are doing now. The sign will make him feel better for a little bit, and then they're gonna realize that the traffic is still coming the same speed, and, I don't know.
Does the board, what do you talk to the guy, do you want to put a sign up? Is that something you want to do?
I understand the part about the hidden drive sign, just like you said, they're gonna be immune to it, it's not gonna do any good. I guess my question to you and to you is, what other sign can we put up there, especially going north? Is there any kind of a flashing sign, a hidden drive with some kind of a light on it or something? I don't know, especially in the wintertime when it's dark.
I think as soon as you put one in at this hidden drive,
And somebody
everybody
else.
else is gonna want the same thing. And does it, the big question is it gonna do any good? You know,
You're immune to that sign versus any other sign that's, they're gonna just ignore it.
Reminds me of the flashing light on Cherry Street by Kimball. You know where their health, they have like a health thing up there.
oh yeah.
The first time they put that up, I'm like, dang.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it.
Now, I don't
Everybody's
know.
not used to it.
So you said this is on South Carolina?
Correct.
I wanna do whatever's gonna help with public safety, but if our engineer is saying.
And dropping the speed limit is the ideal situation. It is, and we can do that. But
Is it a section deal?
we can do it. I'm not opposed to going about a half mile south of there and post it from there all the way to 162. Because I think from Mendel to 162 is 35, I think. There's a section there that is 35.
And you can do the whole thing, and that's not a bad idea.
And I think you've got a collection of residents there that could be.
I just don't know where you're at.
restricted speed area.
But you can definitely validate it. Yeah, you can definitely validate the lower end speed. We can do an engineering study, not a problem. It really would be. But I mean, yeah, but until the public slows down, signs are gonna be signs. You get into that thing, you wanna make a road nice and smooth, that people speed up. We can cut the trees back, talk to property owners and move, cut the trees back 50 feet on the inside of that curve and really open it up. I don't know if he'll go for that. It's Thomas Poe. I don't know him. So there's things we can do, but sign is not the answer.
So can you tell me again from, you head south, you go past St. Vincent.
Go across 162.
And go across 162, and then how far out are you there?
Probably a mile.
Like a straight stretch and then you start.
So you cross that water where it gets low there.
Further than Mendel.
Get up.
Yeah, you go on south of Mendel, go through the bottoms, and you go up, head up the hill, and that's when you get on the residential area. There's probably 20 houses right through there.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, then you get to a wooded area. He's just on the north side of that wooded area.
It's an old schoolhouse, isn't it?
No.
And maybe it might be too far.
We did a drive to the south.
Okay, so
or the north, not the south.
Like I said, coming out of that, I was wooded and up over the hill
So tell me
and
where,
right there it is.
tell me where you would put the. I was just the one that's highlighted here. It's the top of that hill. Oh, that sideways.
Mm-hmm.
You would start yours.
That's the one I actually thought it was.
I guess I've never thought of that in big neighbors. So what, so it's 45, you think, maybe from Mendel or from the 162 all the way?
Yeah.
We can just put a portion of the slower residential area?
I would stop it here, I'll go here all the way. I know you get back and speed, you wait and move here, but then you get into town, you just slow it down.
Who's gonna monitor that?
Correct. And, lower speed limit is a valid option, but they're kind of not there at 47. Chenalgo Road is posted at 45, if you tell me somebody drives 45 on that road. Sorry. I mean, it's the truth.
It's the truth.
It's the truth. You put the sign up, we can put them up. I know the sheriff's distracted. I'm not throwing them under the bus, but people do not listen to the signs. Yeah. So.
Unless they're made to.
I'm not opposed to that, but at the same time, I feel like if the homeowner removes some trees and whatnot, and do his own due diligence to make the sightline better, they should do that as well. It shouldn't all be on the county to put up a sign and lower the speed limit and, do all the things that we.
I get it, taking trees out is expensive. I get
Well,
what
I don't
people
know
do.
whose property that is.
No, it's a different property. Sure, that's.
It's somebody, it's a different.
Okay.
It's a
It's a
Thomas
different.
Poe. It's a
Yeah.
different owner.
Not
She's
his.
probably still on the backside of that hill, which might not even stop.
There might have.
That was just kind of.
Yeah, you could open it up. You're talking.
If there's something,
feet to pull that back.
if there's something that he could do, I would suggest he did that as well.
And I think the
I'm not
property,
opposed to
if you drive up there, this property stops right there with that timber starts.
Correct.
It's right there.
So what, you can put a sign in the front yard saying.
Outside the right of way.
Outside the right of way saying, please slow down. I live here.
You know, that's what it's gonna say.
But you know, there's those little signs where they have the flag with kids in the area, people don't pay attention to those either.
Those make me nervous.
I know, you're a select few, but yes.
I put those in my driveway.
I do pay attention to those signs, and there's one on Chenalgo Road where I know, there's two actually, hidden drives. I don't know if there's a sign at both of them, but I know I always slow down when I crest that hill. because I know what's on the other side of it. But I don't know that I
Maybe we
have.
should quit making our roads so nice.
And he
But
said,
you can't travel on, turn back to gravel, let's put a few potholes just north of it.
he did thank you for the new road, by the way. He was he's very, very happy for the new
Got a
road.
lot of good compliments.
Yes, very much so. Very
I would
happy.
suggest we just look into it, talk about it at our next meeting.
I don't know that signs have no value. I think they have some value, but it's probably not a great value.
Hidden driveways are proven not.
Unless you put.
Hidden driveway until on several studies throughout the country. Initially, they have great value. People slow down, and they become immune to them. And then the person that lives there thinks everybody's gonna slow down, everybody's paying attention to it, and they're not. And that's when more accidents happen. Because it's me, instead of me being extra cautious when I pull out my driveway, I'm like, oh, they're gonna slow down, and I go. It actually it's proven to make the intersections in the driveways.
When's that one starting over there?
Great.
This fall.
Brattsville starting this fall?
Utility relocations this fall.
I don't know. I mean, I feel for the person, just like my neighbors they have their grandkids. We put up signs that say warning of the bus thing. I don't know. That one stands out to me because it's a little different. It's rare. Even there's a hidden drive sign further north on Meridian. And I don't know why, but I even remember recently, I wonder where that hidden drive is. I don't even know where it is. Or I don't know what that sign is supposed to be.
What driveway
protecting me
it's
from.
meant for, yes.
So I guess I pay attention because of the position we're in, but I don't think most people do that kind of. It's not important.
Have any
Have you-
suggestion besides the hidden drive sign, a different type of sign?
Lower the speed limit, move the trees
Besides-
back, to be honest with you, cut trees back.
Commissioner, whatever you come up with, I'll support whatever you come up with to help that citizen.
Ideally, if you guys say put up a sign, we're gonna put up a sign. We will. That's our job.
I just don't think the hidden drive sign is gonna be,
Correct.
it's just not gonna be enough.
And I don't want somebody taking it upon themselves to put a
No,
nasty sign.
but that's
up
why
either.
I'm asking is there's gonna be, I don't know, another different kind of sign. I mean,
What's it look like that?
well, that's what I said. Can we put ripple strips on the road?
Rumble strips, they work, they're not proven. I mean, you can put a hidden driveway, you can put it on the ground too, you can.
I think.
That's true.
You can,
Like painted
Think
in.
about that.
you can get,
I didn't
you
think
can get
about that.
lettering to put on the road. So,
So you'd have to put it.
I've told several people, no. So we do
Let's,
this.
let's start with you looking at the
You're
speed
second
limit
guessing.
and you telling him what we discussed, maybe if you don't mind, and we'll, tree cut back. I mean, we can start with those two areas. I think that'd be what I'd like to do.
Okay, all right, we'll start from there
So I'll get an ordinance. I'll get an ordinance
then.
wrapped
You and
up
I.
to lower the speed limit from 45 to 35. So
So do you have to do traffic counts, do anything like that?
we will, yeah, it's not good traffic. I mean,
Sorry, that's
if there's
wrong.
more than 80, it used to be the standard was 85th percentile is what you posted your speed limit to within 5 miles per hour. There's now new data showing that you can do it based off different other regulations. There's not just 85%.
You may want to even share that with him, because he may think that solution's terrible. He may say, I want to speed limit lower. And he may think that that's not acceptable to him either.
Well, in turn, that's what he's saying when they come and bite you fast, you know?
I think the average person probably has a set speed that they go over the speed limit. If it's 35, they're probably not gonna try to do 70.
You think so?
Some,
Yeah.
some, but I think most people probably have kind of an area that they feel comfortable going over the speed limit.
You know, like some of these cars you're cruising, don't even realize you're going 70.
That's what we said too, when the roads are really nice, it makes it
There's
easier to
screws
go fast.
on,
I
don't
just-
think about it.
I use Snellville and Kellerville as mine too.
Right.
Kellerville, if you're not running 50 on Kellerville, you're in trouble. Right? Snellville, if you're not running 55, you're in trouble. Yeah. So.
Because they use it like a highway.
And really, when you look at
By the way,
Meridian, especially in that area there, you know, 45 is pretty quick in that curve. And around that hill, so I think that probably makes sense.
Post it, maybe have it, you know, ask the sheriff if they have the time. I mean, I understand their,
Right.
you know,
I
their
had that
situation,
conversation
but
with them.
have them kind of watch it for a little bit after it's posted new and hopefully it gets the word out. Because there's a lot of residents through there.
Yeah, because we can all probably think of a place in the county where we don't speed. Mine is in Ferdinand, going through town, because historically, people know that you're gonna get a ticket, so I've been trained.
Yes.
And maybe they haven't even pulled anybody over there for the last 15 years, but it's been ingrained to me that that's a place you don't speed. So, it's the same way here, I think if we
Or
have,
on South Newton where the cop sits behind the tree.
right, if there's a place where it's consistently people getting pulled over, I mean, you do train the driving public to obey the rules.
And that's the real answer, I think, there, to begin with. You know, but how do you?
Like on the corner of Mill and Kathy Lane, there used to be a cop years ago that would sit there. Probably think of that police officer being there and you assume.
North Mill is another one. North Mill is another one.
Yeah. All right, any other business?
Nope, I'm
All
good. That was my last, thing.
We'll close the meeting. Thank you.
Do we have a schedule actual to gain the Schnellberg Road?
Brent, probably next year, they can